friend. I have a lot of respect for him. He's done amazing things in martial arts and his business, and I have a lot of respect for what he's done. And he's come through as a young lad. We'll introduce him in a minute to the podcast and live stream. But he's done amazing things, and he's as I've got to know this gentleman, he's got a heart of gold, real giver, and really wants to help martial arts business owners and scale and help just people in general. So welcome to the podcast, Mr. Luke Burks. How are you, sir?
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure talking to you, mate. Always an absolute pleasure, and it's great to see where you've got where we've come to. So I thought today we'd interview about scaling, growing, and we'll touch on the pandemic a little bit and how that's changed things a little bit. But I think as all entrepreneurs, all business owners, we know we have to keep learning, growing, because if we don't pivot and evolve, we're going to die. So that'd be great to get you on as well, because I think you are so good when it comes to branding and really good at bringing tech into the martial arts business. You've been absolutely brilliant for that. So I thought it'd be great to chat to an interview. So first of all, Luke, for the viewers, listeners, etc. So tell us a little bit about your journey. Where did you start on this, just martial arts in general?
So I think I was 9 when I started training in martial arts, and my dad was a bit gutted actually, because my dad, I tried football, I couldn't get into football, and I tried getting into various sports that my dad tried pushing me into a little bit. And he had a friend who taught Thai boxing in York, and he tried pushing me into that, and I never went along. And then all of a sudden I made friends with a kid who was called Luke actually. He lived in the next street, and he trained at the community centre around the corner. So I went along with him one night, loved it, absolutely loved it, and then never looked back really. I had an original instructor who was called Sean Warner, and Sean taught me, for the better part of a year. And it was really weird going on, to be honest, because my instructor, who I still to this day class as my main instructor, Craig Long, a fantastic martial artist. Yeah. He came along to the club where Sean was just to train, and I was young, so I don't really know exactly what happened. But within 2 weeks, Sean had left and Craig was running the club. It was a bit crazy. So I was really lucky to have Craig on my doorstep, who was my instructor, and he has fantastic lineage. So his instructor was Paul Lynch, and they was part of Aegis with John Igo, Tony Igo, and Tony Diaz, all the way back to Magendo. And so it's really good lineage. So I was really lucky to have that on my doorstep, and it just developed from there. Really, it was something I trained every night, helped teach whenever I could, and it developed into a career for me. So I was very fortunate, like I say, to have such world-class martial arts on my doorstep, which then gave me a path to turn it into a career.
That's amazing, mate. So how long, so you started when you were 9?
Yeah.
And, what were you, I think it's kickboxing, is that right? Sport karate?
Yeah, kickboxing and continuous kickboxing, yeah. Yeah,
great. So you started on that. And then you, obviously, as most martial arts school owners, there's a point where they become they start running classes. So tell us about that. What happened there? How old were you? What was that like?
I don't exactly remember when I started running classes, but I remember, so literally the community centre was at the end of my street. So I remember coming back from school, from secondary school on my bike, and I remember seeing Craig's car in the car park. So I would pull up, I'd help him lay the mats down ready for the classes, and then I would go home, quickly get a sandwich, and then come back and then help teach in the classes that night, and then train, and it just developed from there. So I'd say as a lot of old school martial artists, you used to have to do like a warm up to go for your brown belt. You used to have to be able to do a warm up, and then to go for your black belt, so that sort of system kicked in. And I think I was about 16, 17 when my instructor Craig moved into a full-time premises. So it moved into, and he really then dug his heels in, and it became a business for him as well. Let's get serious now. We've got rent, we've got rates, we've got everything going on, and that's when it really dug in. And we was fortunate. It was myself and my really good friend Jay. He took us on both full time. And at this point, my instructor had a full-time premises and a part-time location as well. So we were teaching 6 days a week, and it grew. And he grew his business into after I left. But I think at one point they had 6 or 7 schools. So he continued growing as well. So I had really good guidance, really good direction. But yeah, I think I was about 14, 15.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, crazy. And I look now at sometimes at some of the 14, 15-year-olds that I teach in class, and I go, wow, they're amazing. And I think you forget that you do that yourself as well. I did that myself, and I know many others who at 14, 15 were teaching full classes, adult classes sometimes as well. They're commanding a room of adults, and they're 15 years old, but they're such good martial artists as well. They've already got the respect of all these adults in the class.
I think it's great, and one of the things that you've done really well, and I love, and I've, having got to know you over the years, I know that you are, you have a real passion for helping the youth, and you can tell that you started young. You can tell that you have a passion for helping the youth, and you do really well with that. And I love that about you. Like, you've got, and man, I'm the same heart. I'm the same heart. I'm the same thing. Like, bring the youth through. Like, you talk about 14. They can't teach a class. They couldn't be more wrong. Like, if you develop them right, like, what are your thoughts around that, about bringing through the younger guys? Because you've done a brilliant job of that.
I think giving them that opportunity, like, and I can't say it enough. I was so lucky and so fortunate with the opportunities as a youngster that I had through martial arts, and it's completely changed my life. The opportunities, the career it's given me, but not just that. I remember going to world championships with fundraising. We'd go on trips, trips that I'd never get to go on. Like, we didn't have much money when I was younger. We lived on a council estate, and we'd get holidays in, but we didn't go everywhere. We went to Spain, typical cheap family holiday to Spain, I guess. But I've travelled all over the world as a junior, as a youngster, through martial arts. So I think just giving them that opportunity, but saying you can do this as a career if you'd like. You can help change other people's lives. I think it's definitely, it should definitely happen in more schools. We have a certified instructor training program, a paid program. But we quite often give scholarships to teenagers on this program as well, give them an opportunity.
They're hungry, aren't they? And they're hungry for development. And you know what? A lot of these young kids, they become, I'm the same. We brought through so many of the young, 13, 14, 15 year old, our schools like that. They're some of our best instructors. And what a great platform for a martial arts school owner to go from teaching them, help them become black belts, move them on to the next level of leadership, through to, becoming an instructor, maybe have a career. What would you say to instructors around the country right now who could maybe looking for, and I know it can be quite ingrained, kind of, Luke, like, you've got to be a certain age, you've got to be a certain level, and all this sort of thing. What would you say around that, about, like, some tips and tricks to helping school owners around that? Because I think this would be a good bit of an interview to share.
I think the thing that rings true with me, not just on age, but also maybe what your typical martial arts instructor might look like, or maybe what your typical martial arts instructor, how good their technique is. I've seen, and the bit of martial arts none of us like, the politics and people's egos and stuff like that. I've seen people criticize other instructors in the past because of their age and because of maybe what their physical appearance is like, or they might not be a great martial artist, but they produce world-class martial artists themselves. I truly feel you don't have to be the world's best martial artist to produce world-class martial arts. Just like I might be completely wrong here because I don't know anything about football. I'm horrendous, but I assume a football manager didn't have to be a world-class football player to be a good manager. To be
Alex Ferguson, not a good footballer. You know, many of them, Mourinho, a lot of them weren't. That's right.
I'll take your word for that, Gordon. But I think the give the youngsters the opportunity, and sometimes they've just got to be keen. They might not be the best martial artists either, but they're keen and they're committed and they're good with people and they're good at getting their point across. And as long as people like and respect them, because the respect has got to be there as well, I don't see any problem in it.
Yeah, and I think it gives them a pathway, doesn't it? Martial arts, for instance, I believe, what a great career to have, to be able to do what you love, to be able to to be able to go on a journey, maybe not even have to work full time, doing what you love, teaching martial arts in the warmth most of the time, being able to learn personal development, personal growth, becoming a great leader, communicate, all them things. What a great career path. And, I believe like that martial arts as an instructor is something that many teenagers would really aspire to become like an instructor, because there was like if you look at for instance, the educational system, a lot of these kids, they're like literally just like they don't know where to go. They're lost. They don't know where, they're not really education. They're not really into education. They don't like, the way the educational system is run. They're not really academic. And martial arts is a great platform, isn't it, for personal development, really being given them a platform. And I think that martial arts schools in the UK especially, I think we're getting to that point now where it's being taken a bit more seriously, owning a martial arts school. We're not quite there, but I think it's really important. I really do. What are you? So you started. We digressed a bit, but I thought it was an important point. So then when did you open your first full-time centre?
I was 20 when I left my. I was 20, when I left my instructor, and that was the most terrifying thing in the world as well, because without going into too much detail, we didn't leave on the best of terms, and it was absolutely terrifying to go and open my full-time location. So I went straight into full-time, took a full-time premises on. I didn't have any members. I thought, if I'm doing this, I'm going all in. But yeah, I was 20. So it was the premises needed full renovation before we could open. So I remember on my 21st birthday, I worked, and I'm not great with DIY either. I'll just do what I can. So I was ripping out and doing a bit of painting and stuff. So I was there. I did 14 hours at the school, like doing building work, whatever I could. And then, 'cause it was my 21st birthday, I met about 3 friends in town. I went to Pound a Pint, and I got drunk, and then I was back there at 8 a.m. the following day. So yeah, I was a baby when I opened
amazing
full-time school, but I had bags of experience. Like, again, I was very lucky that my instructor, because he put my serious head on. He had a business coach. He had a martial arts consultant, and I was very fortunate. He took us along, and we learned so much about business, and I've learned so much more since. But I had a good head start. I had a really good start.
That's really good. And at 20 years of age, people say, well, you're too young to, but actually you have a wise head. You can see that with, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 28.
28 years of age, you can tell you've got an old head on young shoulders for sure. And that shows the wisdom. You have been on a journey, and at 20 years of age, I mean, I love that. You at the Pound a Pint, love that. Yeah. 4, 5, 6 pints in a way. Yeah, I can imagine.
2 or 3. 2 or 3.
That's great. But here's the thing: your friends would have probably gone out on the drink again the night after and got out and partied. You're building your business, which is, many people look at you right now and go, oh, 28 years of age, got your business, flying franchises, etc. We'll get to your journey so far. And I go, well, actually, I haven't even started yet. Like, a lot of them have, a lot of 28-year-olds are just getting going. Maybe just got a relationship or whatever they're doing. Probably haven't got a business. Not many have got a business of your stature. So I think it's very wise to start early. I think it's a good thing. Again, you got to learn your trade early. I believe. So you got your own full-time facilities. How did that go for a few years? Tell us about that. I'd love to know about that.
So again, because I had the knowledge of and the systems from before, it went pretty well right from the start, to be honest. I can't play it down. It went really well. Within a year, we opened a franchise. So we opened our first franchise, which is just a part-time location. And then I got the opportunity after a couple of years to buy a school off somebody else, which I did. And I don't regret it, but I would never do it again. So just a little tip out there for you. I was young, I was excited, and it's my fault, but I didn't do my due diligence. Okay, so I didn't properly know the figures and the numbers of that school, and it looked a lot shinier and better than it actually was. So it probably wasn't the best investment. It earns a good profit now, but I probably could have just opened one up 100 yards down the road, and then I wouldn't have this monthly payment to pay every month for a certain period of time. So, but anyway, we opened it up. It's franchised. It's completely. It runs with a franchise team, and then we just continued to grow really. But yeah, when I first started, 0 members, full-time premises, rent to pay. I remember as well, and I look back now because I know you say this a lot, and I do look at my schools, and I do agree we're really good with branding and the look of how everything is. And I'll try and find you the picture, but we ran out of money, and I had on the back wall I had a pair of bag gloves, a pair of boxing gloves, and a head guard in the bags straight from the supplier, just nailed to the wall. Honestly, the bag's nailed to the wall. Brilliant. And that was my pro shop. And I look back now and think, what were you doing? Like I even though but it worked. I still did pretty well. We still did okay. And as fast as I earned money, we reinvested and built an official pro shop. But yeah, we did pretty good right from the start.
Amazing, mate. Really good. And bring yourself to like here. So we'll go to pre-COVID because I think that's fair, and then we'll come through the pandemic bit. So you then like up to where you are now. So where's your schools now? Like let's go pre-COVID to start with. Tell us about your schools and the journey you've been on to there and where it's at now.
So pre-COVID, I own X Martial Arts Schools as a franchise. I own our HQ, and that's staffed. And then we have 4 further locations, which are franchises on a license agreement. So they are run by school owners and instructors, and we fluctuate between 900 and 1,000 members in terms of the organisation. 2 of the schools are full time, and 3 of them are just run out of school halls 2-3 days a week. We're just about to sign the lease on a 3rd full-time premises. So we're about to move one of the part-time schools into a full-time premises, which is fantastic. It's really nice to see that they're at a good, strong, solid point. Their income's really solid. They've got over 100 members in a part-time facility that runs 3 afternoons a week. They've got over 100 members, which is great. And they're about to move that into a full-time premises. So that's really good. Obviously, COVID then came along, and as everyone did, if you say you didn't, I think you're full of shit. To be honest, I see lots of people on Facebook who say we didn't lose a single member, and I just don't think that's true. And I don't think you need to lie about your numbers. Initially, we took about a 45% hit in the first lockdown. Once we reopened, we worked really hard at building that back up, and we got to about 95% of our original numbers. And I don't know about you, and be really interesting to see, but this lockdown's different. I think it's like I think we've maybe got 5% of people, of our members, who've paused.
Yep, because they're used to it.
Yeah, it's weird. The first lockdown, probably 30% straight away, and then another 5% every month to where we got to about 45%. But now we're at 5%, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's because people are, number one, they're used to it. Like we're hardly getting any, like we're getting little dribs and drabs, little half the end of them, like you normally would, actually, like you normally would. Nothing different really. And it's because people are used to it. I absolutely agree with you. I think so. So you built, I mean, 4, and by the way, all the listeners here, 4 quality schools. What Luke is really good at is brand. I want to come and speak to Luke a minute about some of his idea, like what he believes is, helped him get where he needs to get to, etc. But I really want to, and then I want to ask Luke about, what tips and tricks he can give to martial arts school owners as well, because there's a lot of them, that are maybe struggling at the moment. So at the moment, things are looking pretty good, aren't they, with the pandemic and stuff like that, which is awesome. What's the, so with the, I'll ask you about COVID at the moment and what's been this little journey. I mean, it's been we're coming up to nearly a year in March. I mean, what a year. So I'd love to know, and I've asked people in interviews, what was your first thought when we went into lockdown and, as a martial arts school, think about, I mean, it feels like years, doesn't it? Like,
it was so long ago. So I was willing to do absolutely everything, and my staff were a little bit worried. And again, that's the media. Whatever your thoughts are on everything that's going on, it was built up for everyone to be petrified.
Yeah.
And at the time, because we didn't know to what extent how bad it was, and you saw the first thing you saw were these videos from China of people dropping down dead in the street, and you thought that's coming for us. So I said, and we need to keep running the classes. And we heard about these roadblocks that you couldn't leave your house and everything. I said, if I have to, I'll move into the dojo. So I'll move into the dojo. I'm very fortunate at the dojo. We have like cooking facilities and a shower, and it's nicer than my house actually. I'd rather live out the dojo. So I said, I'll just move in there and I'll teach the live stream classes. It didn't work out like that, and I ended up doing the live stream classes from my house to start with. And I spoke to you in one of the mastermind groups, and you said, Luke, you do what you've got to do. If you need to go for your mind, go to the school and teach your classes, do it. Because I was coming downstairs and the mats were laid out in my living room, and I was late to the classes because I was just unmotivated. Like, how can you be late to the classes downstairs? Honestly, like, how can you be late to the classes downstairs? I was just like, I was down. I don't want to use, I'm not going to say depressed, but I was low.
You were. I remember, Luke, and by the way, I want to chime in here a little bit as well. Luke, by the way, had the best looking at-home studio that I'd ever seen.
It was amazing.
In his front room, right? But it makes me laugh when he says that. Like, I was late to my classes. I was at home teaching. I was late from coming from upstairs. But he was very low. And I remember you feeling like, you could tell it was depressing for you to be in these 4 walls, and you just love being at the dojo, Yeah, I know. And you moved. So yeah, carry on the story. Yeah.
So I think a main reason as well was just January, February last year, I was looking at new houses to move. So I'd already I'd already fell out of love with the house as well. And you said I needed to elevate my surroundings, and I'd fell out of love with the house. I was ready for the next step. And then obviously that all got paused, but I'd also brought work to my home. The mats were in my home. I'd scraped all the ceiling, put up in my ridiculous banner that I needed in the background. And so I was a bit worried, but it once things relaxed a little bit and everyone realized that, it's serious. Yeah, go to the lockdown. But if you have to drive to your dojo to teach your classes, you're not coming into contact with anyone, just go do it. So we did that. We got a little bit of the team in, the instructor team as well. And then I realized that things weren't as bad as they needed to be. I think again, going back to the house thing, it was a big, as everyone did for 2020, I'm sure I had big plans. I was moving, this was happening. I was looking at amazing houses. A couple of the part-time schools were going into full-time facilities. We'd just taken on next door at work as well. We'd literally just taken on a second unit and knocked through, and our expenses there had doubled. I'd just taken on a new member of staff. So I think the doom and gloom hit me a little bit. So that's what happened initially in lockdown. And then after speaking to the amazing group I had in the mastermind, I just decided that that was a choice. So it was a choice whether I let it affect me like that or whether we thrived through lockdown. So that's what we did. We put our heads together, kicked its ass, and we're thriving.
That's amazing, mate. It's really good. And like, I think that, you know, many people see martial arts school, dojos, like, oh, it's all good, you got a dojo. But I can say from personal experience and, you know, the amount of school owners that I speak to and people who are in our programs, that people found it tough. Like, even if you had a dojo, like, you found it tough because, you know, you're battling with rents, rates. I know rates weren't there, but there's all the overheads, and you have a bigger outlay. You have a bigger outlay. Many times you've got a bigger, small staff outlay, and it's tough. Like, it was a tough time. Uncertainty. You know, I've got 9,000 square foot facility, and I couldn't do anything. I had a cafe had to close down. You know, it was tough. But I'd love to know, Luke, what's been your biggest learning over this pandemic? Like, through there, what's been your biggest, like, you know what? You know, because I believe everything's yin and yang. There's good and bad in everything. You know, I look at life, and, you know, I always say, what's been your biggest positive learning from this pandemic?
It's tough. It's really tough. I think it's been great seeing how much our members value us. So sometimes when and as you know, I coach other instructors as well and speak to lots of instructors and speak at events. A lot of the time, school owners are really worried about how much they can charge, and not to go into the money debate and it's become about money, but the value you place on your classes is how much you charge for them. That is fact. So I think seeing the value that our members saw in us and how much they needed us through lockdown, and then when we came out of lockdown and we reopened, everybody seeing the massive influx. I remember, I think was it Northern Ireland who opened up before us? Yeah. I think one of the clients in the martial arts community, he put a post out about 4 weeks before we opened saying, "Don't worry, guys, we reopened tonight. We had 20 new members. Everyone came back to class. Everyone loved it. And I put my prices up by this much. Don't worry, everything's going to be okay." And I remember showing all my staff that, and everyone was like so relieved. And I think the positive thing is seeing that it's just reassuring that what we do is life changing, and we can charge a premium for it because it's premium what we are doing, and there's a real need for it in the community. So we are massively changing life. So if you ever question what you're doing, can I charge this for what I'm doing? Is it right? I hope that the pandemic has reiterated what you are doing is amazing, and everybody needs it.
I love that, Matt. It's a really important thing, and I quite like to pick anything out. You pick that out, and you're so right. Like, yes, you could have people leave. That's just how it is. But the core of your martial arts students, they need us more than ever for like the positivity, the thanks that you get. And actually, I want to praise Luke here as well, because, you know, he charges a premium. Well, what he would see is a premium. There's other people charging slightly more, but it's very, very rare. He's right up there. You charge what, £79 a month? Is it?
79, yeah.
£79 a month. Great pricing, really, really good pricing. And he believes it and he deserves it, you know, and they carry on paying that through a lockdown. Like, does it go, we bring it down to £29 and all that?
Well, that's it. I was going to say, I know a lot of people in the first lockdown, and don't get me wrong, we rewarded people for keep paying after the first lockdown. We did half price belt testings and some free events and things like that. But I do see people who go, well, because we're onto lockdown and it's on Zoom, we're just going to drop your monthly payments down to £10 a month. And I see that, and I know you want to help people. I get you want to help people, but you are devaluing what you are doing, 100%. Because if I buy something for £79, if I buy an item for £80, and then I am able to buy it for £10 for a few months, even if it's slightly different, but I'm getting the similar benefits. Once it goes back up to £80, my mind is seeing a different value. If that makes sense, I've talked myself out of it being worth that much. So I do see other people doing that, and I do disagree with that. I know everyone's different and everyone's going to do things their own way. You've got to do what's right for you 100%. But I don't feel like there's any need to change it.
There's a mindset in that, isn't there? It's how it is 100% mindset. And going round, I'd love to touch on this because I think you'd be able to add some wisdom here. It's like the price, although we're talking about, the value you charge. And I know you've always, as a martial artist, you've always wanted to push the envelope and test, haven't you? Test where's the pricing, where's the ceiling, and that's the right thing to do as a business owner, to see where see if we can push it and push it and push it. And I know you've done some testing, haven't you? And you pushed it up, and you've had little barriers. So I think it'd be really good to share that with the guys on the podcast and live stream here. Is that yes, you've increased your prices, and no doubt you'd have been a little bit nervous, unsure. No, it's the right thing, but you're always nervous when you're going to change things up. So tell us the experiences that you've had as you've moved up the ladder, because I know you believe in the value of what you do, and that will help some people here. So
I think when you when we have put prices up, I've been worried 100%, and I've probably done the things that you all want to do or thought about doing and thought that you can't do. And so dropping the once per week membership. So I'm sure there's plenty of school owners out there who still have once per week. There's plenty out there who have dropped it, or it's not available after a certain belt, things like that. I've done all that, and I shit myself when we got rid of the once per week memberships. And it went, and then we still had people who didn't sign up, and we still had shitloads of people who did sign up. So was it a mistake? No, I don't feel like it was. So we changed our price. And I'm always trying to be premium. I want to be premium. I had an inquiry messages saying, well, I can train at such and such 3 times a week for this much per month. Why can I train less at yours for this much per month? And it's like, well, I can buy chicken at Asda, or I can buy chicken at Waitrose. It's chicken, but they will charge twice as much. And this might be organic and better, and there's more effort, and it's free range, and this might be cage stuff, whatever. I think all the time I've increased price, I have tried justifying it by adding more value. And every time we've increased price, I have added more value, and I felt better about the price that we're charging as well. Sure. And I think surrounding yourself as well with people who charge more as well, they just prove to you that they can do it. Like our Ivan, who's in the thing. Ivan is my inspiration on pricing, and it's not at Ivan's point yet. I just out there personally. And Ivan's done this for a very long time. He's been very successful for a very long time. Ivan's at 97 a month, I think.
Yeah, 97.
97 a month, yeah. And
I will for our American listeners, I know you'll be thinking, like 97, but we know in America, I know you're listening on the podcast or watching the live video. We know over there, $150, $200 is standard over there. But in the UK, 97 is very, very, very top. I mean, there's not hardly anyone in the UK, not many, that are charging that. There's a few, but there's not many that are charging around the 97 to over £100 a mark. So yeah, carry on. I wanted to put that in there.
Like, speaking of the Americans, I went to the Martial Arts Super Show in 2018, I think, in Vegas, and we sat in a business conference, and the guy at the front said, "Right, put your hands up if you're charging more than $100 per month." And everyone put their hand up in the room, except from me, Andy Crittenden, who's from Doncaster, and I think Philip Payne from Leeds was there. So the English guys, we all cowered in our seat, and every single person, and because of how many members we had and the amount we charged, we was in the lower level business group as well. So this was the lower level business group, and everyone in there charged more than we did. So we're catching up, but I still think by the time we catch up, they'll be at $500 a month, maybe. Yeah. Who knows? So I think surrounding yourself with other school owners, and it's I want to be premium. So my competition in our local area, quite recently, they put their price up. So I put my price up. So I was more than them as well. I want to be seen as different, but I do know that we include different things for value. So I know that they charge for their online syllabus, their recorded syllabus. Ours is included from day one in the app. So there's value. You can always add value. By charging more as well, you're able to pay staff to write thank you cards and birthday cards. And excuse me, some of you out there might go, well, that isn't what I want to do. I want to teach martial arts and then that is it. And that's absolutely fine. You've got to work out what's best for you. But I know that I keep some members because of that value that we give all the way through. That it helps retention massively. And you've got to charge to be able to afford to pay for these things. My staff, for example, my staff really get looked after. My staff, all their phones are paid for. They have company cars that are paid for. When they've been with me so long, I pay for their car insurance, things like that, perks like that, and like birthdays. The business buys them a birthday present, a good, decent birthday present, and Christmas bonuses and target-based bonuses, and I think they want to be rewarded. But I can't afford to do all this without charging a premium.
I totally agree. And it is a shift in the mind, isn't it? Without doubt, like many school owners, myself included, I was in that position for sure. £9 a week for 5 classes a week, that's where I sat for sure. And, we all have our demons, don't we? And I think it's important, I'm a big advocate for the martial arts industry. And I think it's important that, our pricing must increase. Our pricing, our value, we give so much as an industry. Look, let's look at it, Luke. I mean, I'm sure, you've seen the same. Like martial arts schools, I'm going to say it, have been the best in this pandemic by a mile, delivering online classes, provide better service, better classes, more energy, loads of variety. The martial arts industry have been absolutely phenomenal. I know my daughters have been doing other things, and no two ways about it. Like martial arts classes are above and beyond. And that's how we roll. Yeah. That's how we roll. Interestingly, we always charge less than what we should do, and I think it's a great. That's why I wanted to bring that point up. It's important. So,
just quickly, sorry. I'm having some building work done on a house at the moment, and I was speaking to the builder, and his daughter does dance, and he pays £149 per month for her dance classes, and they don't even have their own premises. They rent a school hall. And it's £149 per month for dance classes.
Wow. And some people charge £49 a month, do they?
I can guarantee that there is. So you might go, wow, that might just be where you live, Luke. You might just live somewhere like. I can guarantee I can find a dance class for £39 per month in York. I will find one. There will be one. And then, for example, there's this one, which is £149 per month. You got to put yourself where you want to be.
100%. And if people, I believe this as well, if people want to train with you, they will pay. If they like the value, when someone say to us, yeah, well, I don't want to pay that. I said, awesome. What do you want to pay? I want to pay this, but they've got them down the road. Here's the number. No, but we want to train it. Well, if you want to train here, it's this. Okay. So like it is true, isn't it? Like we've just got it is mindset. It is a shift. And I think it's really important for the industry. So I want to say, before we have to finish up, is what's been your biggest lessons? Give me a few lessons along your journey. What's been the biggest lessons along your martial arts business journey? Yeah, just give us some of them that you think will be massively beneficial to martial arts school owners listening. What would you say is been important on your journey?
You are not as good as you might think you are at all the little jobs you do. 100%. You might think like I had to do this bit in my business, like I had to do it, and I'd maybe even convince myself that I enjoyed it, and I didn't. So standing on the front counter, doing the enrollments, I didn't know anyone's name. I was horrendous at that. I put someone in who was dedicated to that, and it's amazing. She knows everyone's name, their mum's name, their dad's name, the siblings' name. She knows what other hobbies they do, what schools they go to. So if you want to be the best you can be, find great people to work with you, and all the things you don't enjoy about your business, get somebody else to do it. We were talking about it earlier, actually. We was on Clubhouse, and someone asked for some advice of, I'm just really getting my business started, but I'm a single mum, and I've got to, and I work full time as well, and I've got to fit it in. And there was another lady entrepreneur on there, and she was amazing. And she said, first thing, she said, get a cleaner, get a nanny, and get a cook. She said, all that shit that you don't have time for. She said, your kids are still going to be well fed, they're going to be well looked after, and you're going to have amazing quality time with them still. But if you want to be serious, you can't afford not to do that. So I think hire quick, hire people, hire amazing people. And this is really tough as well because you get attached, but hire quick and fire fast as well. Like get rid, because as soon as you see a little bit of poison, if they're not right, get rid quick. I think that's been really important. I think take risks, but also calculated risks as well. Don't just go for it. I know Danielle, one of my coaching clients, has commented on here a couple of times. And we take risks every single day, don't we, in our business? And we take risks all the time. But just make sure you are ready for the steps that you're taking. So there are a couple of lessons, and I don't know really.
What would be one word of advice that you would give a school owner who's like, they're struggling right now, or they don't think they can? What would you say to them? How would you pick them up?
If you truly believe what you do is life-changing, which 100% it is, you've got to be that beacon of positivity. There's so many people out there that rely on what you do. And even if you're feeling down and your business is not doing amazing, still be that beacon of positivity. And as soon as you give that out, as soon as you give that positivity, and as soon as you give and just constantly give, it will start coming back in, and that business will come back, and the positivity will come back, and you will ultimately feel better. But you owe it to the people that you teach and the lives you change. You owe it to be the light that's shining in these dark times. And I know it's tough sometimes. I know you can feel down and you can feel low, but just go out there and be positive. Continue to change people's lives, because if you're not there, that could be devastating for so many people. So just go out there and be that light in these really dark times.
Amazing. What a way to finish there, Luke. Really, really good, mate. And it's been such a pleasure to see your journey. 28 years of age, Luke is, 4 martial arts schools. He's going to continue to grow and evolve for sure. He's a business coach as well, and he's got so much to offer other martial arts school owners and stuff. Reach out to him. He's a great guy, and he's got a lot of loyalty, and he's very honest, and he's straight to the point as well. And he really knows how to build a martial arts school, guys. So yeah, reach out to Luke. We follow him around. He's a good guy, and really great to have you on there, Luke. As always, we could talk all day. We haven't got the time for that today, but we're sure we'll get you on again. Luke's really good. We'll probably do something on income creation, because that's what you're really good at as well. We'll do a talk around that. Follow Luke as well. Luke does events. We've got some events this year that we'll be running together as well around especially when we can open up again, because I know Luke we like doing the in-house events, and driving them. Brilliant at creating income in your martial arts business and scaling it up as well. So really great to have you on, Luke. Super proud of you, mate. Forwards, mate. You're doing an awesome job. I love that. Be a beacon of light in these dark times. Great quote there, mate. Really good. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. Take it easy, and thank you very much, Luke. And remember, if you're listening here, guys, 3 simple things that I've been finishing on podcasts and live videos here. Keep living, keep loving, and keep learning. Take care, guys. Have a wonderful day.